Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my kitchen. Super excited for today's video because we're gonna be making a ton of pizzas, prepping them and putting them into my deep freezer. These make for super easy and convenient dinners. My kids love them, my husband loves them, my mom loves them, I love them. So it's a win-win-win all around. I did pick up these trays from Amazon and I will link them down below. Let me show you super quickly. I believe these are, were these 12 inches? 12 inch or 14 inch in diameter? This is what they look like. And my thought was that I could just reuse these. So I have like metal pizza trays. I do want to get a pizza stone, but I have like these metal pizza like baking trays that have like little holes in them to let the air in and crisp up the bottom. So I wouldn't be baking the pizzas in these pans, but I thought that it would be super convenient to have them in here, prep everything, and when it's time to cook them, I can just pop them out of it, put them on that baking sheet, put it in the oven, and then I could just wash and reuse these. So I think I have a total of, how many do I have here? 12, 14, 15. So what I'm gonna do is check the pizza recipe that I have. I have a recipe binder and I've just been collecting recipes. I've been really bad at typing out the recipes and putting them in here, and I've been trying new recipes lately that have been so good, but I have them saved on my phone. So I'm gonna take the time one of these days to print them out and put them in here. And I know that I have like a yeast, here it is, a yeast pizza crust. And this gives me for 4. So I would have to quadruple the recipe to get 16, and I'll just have an extra pizza. What I used to do before getting these pans is I would make the pizza dough and then I would shape out the pizza dough and put it in the oven and cook it for a few minutes, not until it was fully cooked, but just enough until it was kind of set. And then I would take it out, let it cool, add the toppings, and then put it in saran wrap. So I'll just do that for the last pizza. So I'm gonna quadruple this recipe. I hope I have enough flour because this is 6 cups of bread flour. I do have bread flour and I have all-purpose flour. So worst case scenario, I will just mix the two together and it should be fine. So now that I'm thinking about it, this green bowl, which I think I got this like at an Asian market, and it comes with like a strainer, a metal strainer piece. This isn't gonna cut it. So let me go grab my super big bowl and we'll get started on this recipe. I think this bowl will do, so let me rinse it out. I remember going to, I think it was Home Goods with my mom a few years ago and seeing this massive bowl. Oh, it's an 18 quart. There we go. It's an 18 quart bowl. And I know they have bigger ones, but I remember going to Home Goods with her and seeing this massive bowl. And her first words were like, oh my God, that would be perfect for making the masa for pasteles. So pasteles for Puerto Ricans is kind of like what a tamale is to a Mexican or a Peruvian. It's our version of a tamale, but we call it pasteles. So that's why we got this massive bowl. So when she does pasteles, she uses this one, but for big dough prepping days, I use it. Also guys, check this out. I made these blueberry muffins with like a crumb topping. My kids loved them. I think I'm decent in math, but it takes me a little bit to multiply fractions, and I don't have time for that today. So I'm just gonna Google it really quick. So the answer, if I'm quadrupling the recipe, which I will leave it down in the description below, is a 10 2/3 cup of lukewarm water. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab out my 4 cup little measuring cup, and I'm gonna microwave some pretty warm water and then add 4 cups of cool water, and hopefully that'll make it lukewarm, and then add 2/3. So let me get that done really quick. Darla, do you wanna go potty? Yes, come on. Come, let's go potty. Guys, it is so hot and humid in Florida, which honestly, that's how it always is. And I absolutely hate the heat and the humidity. How did I end up in Florida? I ended up here for love. I mean, it worked out. We're married, we have kids, but I hate the heat. Anyway, while that is in the microwave, let me go ahead and go over the types of pizza that I'm gonna make. My kids like Hawaiian pizza. They do love pepperoni pizza. I think that's their top favorite, but they do like Hawaiian pizza, and I wanted to have a little bit of variety. So I'm making some Hawaiian pizzas. I am making regular cheese pizza for myself, and I am making pepperoni pizza for my husband and the girls. Also, if you hear that noise, I've said it many times, it's my ice machine. It is the bane of my existence. The ice machine in my fridge is broken, so I need my little countertop ice machine, but it makes noise all day, every day, and especially when I'm filming, it drives me insane. So because I have the mic, hopefully quality of the sound is good. I'm so sorry about that. But those are the 3 kinds of pizza that I'm gonna make. So while that is in the microwave, let me go ahead and grab the yeast and the sugar. Actually, let me read through this really quickly to make sure that I am not messing this up. Okay, so we're combining the water, yeast, and sugar, letting it get frothy. Now, whether I have regular active dry yeast or instant yeast, it doesn't hurt to just let it proof. I would much rather find out that my yeast is no good while it's in lukewarm water and a little bit of sugar, as opposed to putting it in with my flour and then my dough doesn't rise. So you let it sit and get frothy, combine the flour, salt, whisk it together, and then add in the oil at the end. Okay, so let me go grab the yeast and the sugar. We're gonna need that first. Now I'm running low on my yeast. It'll definitely give me for this, but I do want to prep some dough items for the freezer. Coming up, you're gonna see a lot. Oh, there's my microwave. 1 second. All right, this is definitely hot, so hopefully adding cold water will get it to the right temperature. But like I was saying, you will definitely be seeing a bunch of recipes coming out. I am doing a lot of freezer cooking meals. I'm gonna be doing some pressure canning coming up really soon. I've never pressure canned before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I have water bath canned. It's mainly just been jams. So very excited because I want to pressure can some dried beans that I have, some chicken stock, dry potatoes, so that I can have quick, easy, convenient canned goods in my pantry. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of videos coming out that are kitchen related, food related, meal prep related. So if you're into that kind of stuff, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you here and kind of share all of these recipes with you guys. Let's get started on this. So I'm gonna add in the 4 cups right here. I'm gonna grab another 4 cups of cold water, or actually 6 cups of cold water, 6 cups and 2/3 of cold water. So I have another 4 cups here of cold water. Let's do another 2 2/3 cup. This is 2 2/3. Let me see. That is definitely not, that is 3. Okay, we have another 2 2/3 cup. So that makes it 10 cups, 10 2/3 cup total. And that's perfect. So let me go ahead and add in the yeast and the sugar. And the yeast that I have, I just got this from Walmart. It says bread machine on it, but I don't use it for bread machines and I've never had any issues with it. I wanna say it's Fleischmann's. Hopefully I'm not butchering that. Bread machine instant yeast. Also ideal for all rapid rise recipes. Now I am running low and I'm gonna place an order for next month on Azure Standard and get their yeast. So if I'm quadrupling the recipe, I need 16 teaspoons, which is 5 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, oh my gosh, am I gonna have enough? 5. I might be a little bit short. Just a tad bit short, that's okay. 8 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2, 3. I'll do a little bit less since some of those were kind of full. 8. Just gonna use my pastry whisk here. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna let this hang out for, wow, this bowl, this bowl is massive. I'm gonna let this hang out for a few minutes and get nice and frothy. And once it is, we'll go ahead and add our salt, oil, and flour. Let me go let my dog in because she's outside. Talia, come on, get inside. It's hot out there, girl. Talia is my golden doodle. She's a chunky little girl and it's hot outside. So I wanted to make sure that I brought her inside. Anyway, let me go and grab the salt, the oil. I think I have just olive oil on hand. Normally I would use avocado oil, but whatever oil you have is fine. And the bread flour and flour, because I have an entire thing like this full of bread flour. I just don't know if that's gonna be enough. It'll be fine, we'll figure it out. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna set this aside, but I'm going to grab that green bowl again, just so that I can dump some of this bread flour into that green bowl. When you are making doughs, any kind of dough for bagels, breads, sandwich breads, pizza dough, whatever it is. Oh, how cool is this? Hold on, let me show you. All of this right here just started like bubbling up. It was so cool. I don't know if I got that on camera. Anyway, like I was saying, anytime you're making any bread dough products, whether it's pizza dough or bagels or anything like that, you want to make sure that you are not compacting your flour into your measuring cups. You want to kind of fluff it out and then level it, and that will give you a more accurate amount into your bread products. A lot of the times that we have issues where they're too dense, it's because it has too much flour, and sometimes the dough is a little bit sticky, but as you continue to knead it and the gluten starts to form, it starts to become less and less sticky. So I always keep a little bit of flour on hand, and I might add a little bit as I go, as I keep mixing. But after doing it for so long, you really just go off of the feel of the dough. So the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you will become at it. This is just the coolest thing ever. I feel like I'm gonna point the camera down and then it's gonna be done, but I'm just looking down and it just like, it's all like bubbling up and it's filling in. It's just so cool to see. I've never sat here to just watch yeast and sugar kind of activate and work together. It is getting super frothy, which makes me happy. It means that my yeast is good and I can add my flour and it'll rise beautifully. So yeah, let me set this aside. Let me grab the green bowl. Let me grab a measuring spoon, or not measuring spoon, measuring cup, and then we can get our pizza dough started. I feel like I put like a blotting powder on because it's Florida, guys, but I still feel like I sweat so bad. I've always been the one to run a little bit more hot, but when I was pregnant, it was absolutely terrible. I felt like a walking sauna box. And now that I'm postpartum, I thought that it would be better. And no, it's not. I know it takes a while for the hormones to get back to normal, but I am hot all of the time. And it irks my husband every time I complain that I'm hot, because he's like, there's nothing I can do. And I'm like, it's not you, it's not the AC, it's just, I'm just hot all the time. All the time. So instead of complaining to him, I'm gonna complain to you guys. Guys, I'm hot. I am so hot and I really dislike it, but there's nothing that I can do. We must persist through the horrors. Let me stop yapping. Let me get that green bowl. Let's get that flour in there and get a measuring cup. I'm pretty sure I have enough oil. I placed my first Azure standard order and I'm so excited because I'm picking it up tomorrow. And I did order some avocado oil and I wish I would have gotten some olive oil, because now I feel like after this, I'm gonna run a little bit low. So I might have to pick up another one at the store, maybe Sprouts or Costco or something, because Azure Standard does a drop every month. So I don't think I can go an entire month without avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil. So let me add my flour into this green bowl. I'm gonna bring you guys back down. If you hear any little babbles, that is my son. He just finished eating, I think, and now he's in his little playpen. So that you hear there, that's my boy. So I don't know how much I'm gonna need, but we're gonna go with that for now. So we have our flour here. We have our water with sugar and yeast, and look how bubbly it is. This is what you wanna see when making any yeast baked goods. You wanna make sure that it is nice and frothy, so it looks perfect. So for the normal recipe, it's a 1/4 cup of oil. So if I'm quadrupling it, we're gonna be using a cup of oil, which does seem like a lot, but remember we are making 16 pizza doughs. So I have my cup of olive oil here. And then we're also gonna do 12 teaspoons of salt, which would be 4 tablespoons of salt. Now the only salt that I have here on hand is like a coarse ground kosher salt, and it'll do 2, 3, 4. Once we add all of this in, we have to let it rise. I'm so curious to see how far up it rises. My son has commentary. If you hear him in the background, he's just babbling. So you want to kind of fluff out your flour a bit before adding it to your measuring cup, and you want to make sure that you level it off. You don't want to pack this in tight. You want it to be super loose. So for one recipe, it is 6 cups of flour. So what does that make it? 24 cups. I know I don't have 24 cups in here. I do have some other flour in my pantry, so hopefully I have enough. If not, we're gonna have to make a quick trip to the store. Hopefully not. One, 2, 4, and this is exactly why I placed my Azure Standard order, because I got 25-pound bags of regular flour and bread flour. Okay, so I want to stop at the halfway mark just because it'll be easier for me to remember. I'm gonna go ahead and use my little pastry whisk. I think this is an Amish whisk or pastry whisk. I'll link it down below. I got it off of Amazon. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this first, and then I'll go ahead and add in the other 12 cups of flour. Sometimes I use 11 and a half, just kind of give or take. depending on how the dough looks. And if you didn't get an arm workout in this day, you will definitely get one after doing this. 2. 3. I should definitely have enough with all of this here. 10. I'm gonna stop at 10. We have 2 more cups to add, but I kind of want to mix everything first and see where we're at. I'm also gonna take my rings off because normally you would take this, put it out on a floured surface and knead it for a bit, but because I have so much and I have limited counter space with my camera equipment and things like that, I'm going to knead it right in the bowl. And I don't know if I mentioned, this is going to be, well, it's all in one video for you guys, but it will be a 2-day thing for me because I kind of want to get all of the dough prepped and in the baking sheets and all of that stuff, and then come back on the second day and add all of the toppings and make the different pizzas and wrap them up and put them in the deep freezer. Reason for that being, 1, it's just a little bit more manageable for me, but also, like I said, I'm picking up my Azure Standard order tomorrow, and I ordered a 5-pound block of mozzarella cheese, and I kind of need that to make pizza, but it does definitely make it a little bit easier. I have a pretty young baby still that requires a lot of attention. And I'm just gonna scrape the sides of the bowl and rotate it around and just keep on mixing. This is gonna take a little bit of time. And this is quite a bit of work right now, but future me will be so incredibly grateful that I did this because, like I've said before, I am a busy mom of 3 and I love cooking from scratch. I love providing my family with home-cooked meals, but I don't always have either the energy, the time. Sometimes I just don't want to. So that is why a lot of the videos coming out now will be freezer prep videos, pressure canning videos. I'm just trying to make my life as easy as possible, and having meals already made, already in the deep freezer. Breakfast is already made and in the deep freezer. Things pressure canned and in my pantry, I know will make life just a little bit easier on those busy days. So I'm gonna wet my hands and start getting in here. I'll lower down the camera again once I wash my hands. I have 1 more cup to add in here, so I'm gonna start kneading it first and then add a little bit as I go. This is definitely an arm workout. So it's still a little bit sticky, but I'm a little hesitant to add any more flour. I think I added about a 1/4 cup extra. So I think I'm gonna just cover this with a kitchen towel, let it rise for about 90 minutes, and then I will come back and check the consistency of it. And when I roll them out, I'll add a little bit of flour to my surface. If I need to add any extra flour, I'll do it then. But I think even though this is a little bit sticky, it's not incredibly sticky. So I think working it just a few more minutes and then covering it should work just fine. And I'm making sure to get underneath so that I can flip it over and knead all sides of this. Now the directions do say to oil the container and then put the dough to let it rise. So I'm gonna try to, there we go. I just washed my hands, so I'm gonna use this little pastry brush. Oh, that's probably a little bit too much. I'm grabbing out my largest kitchen towel and we're gonna let this sit for 90 minutes. Do you see this dough? It is massive. So I'm not speaking super loudly because my son is actually taking a nap. I had to call in a 1-800 grandma to the rescue so that she could help put him to sleep because he was just so cranky, and there's just something about a grandma's touch. So he's with her, they're across from me, so I'm not gonna be too loud. But guys, do you see this? It's huge. She is massive. So I had a thought, because normally I make the pizza dough, I divide it, I roll it out, I bake it in the oven for about 10 minutes or so just to kind of set it, and then I let it cool, add all the toppings, and I freeze it. But I didn't want to bake them in the pans that I got, so now I'm like, well shoot, what do? I've never put the dough, like rolled it out and then just put the dough and the toppings and everything and just cooked it all at once. I've always pre-baked the dough a little bit. So maybe this would just be an experiment because it would definitely make it a lot easier on my end if I didn't have to pre-bake it. Oh, I touched it and now it's starting to go down. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to divide this dough and fill out those 15 trays and kind of roll it out and then just freeze them, because again, I don't have the mozzarella cheese and all of that until tomorrow and I have to shred it and all that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just fill out the pans, put them in the freezer, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll finish making them. And then I will probably make one tomorrow just so that I can see how it turns out. Because again, I've never made a pizza where I put it in the oven and the dough is raw and the toppings are all, you know, I've never done that. So, and I think what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of oil with a pastry brush on the bottom of each one so it doesn't stick to it. I'm not 100% confident with this, by the way, so I will let you know. We'll find out together tomorrow if it was a success or not. But yeah, let's get started on this dough. I am going to bring out my kitchen scale, flour my surface just a little bit, a light dusting, flip this out, and then get my little bench scraper thing so that I could measure out. I think I normally don't use a kitchen scale, but I might use it for this just so that I can divide it amongst the pies equally. Now this gives for 16, or it's supposed to give for 16. I might just divide it into 15 and make them just a little bit thicker. I don't know, we'll see. Let me do this part first. Man, she's heavy. Wow. Now just the bowl on its own is 998. So minus 998. So this is 6,436 grams of dough. And if I divide that into 15, wow, that seems like a lot, 429. So I think what I'm gonna do is set these pans on the back counter, add a little bit of oil, spread it out, and then I will start cutting off 429 grams and just adding it to each. That way I can just bring it over, roll it out, and we'll have 15. That's insane. What does 429 grams of dough look like? I'm not even sure. Let's see. Okay, that's 342. Okay, that is 429. It's starting to shrink back up a little bit, so I'm gonna leave it alone for just a few minutes and then we'll come back and stretch it out. I feel like this would be okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and portion out all of the other 429 little dough balls, but let's leave this alone for just a second while I go ahead and do everything else. All right guys, so here I have all of the doughs. I have some back there, I have some there, and all of the extra tins are right down here. So we're gonna come back on this side. Here is the dough. It's been sitting for a few minutes, so let me see if I can stretch it out now and if it'll stay. Yes, much better. Okay, so definitely give your dough some time to relax for a bit, because now you can see it's not trying to shrink back. So that seems good to me. So I can stack them. I might put a little piece of parchment paper and then stack them so that way I can put them in my deep freezer that way. But we have one done. I actually have some wax paper to use up, so I'll use this instead. So we'll do something like this, and then the next one will go right on top. All right guys, so I finished up all of the dough. It took a little bit of time, not that much time, but I would say maybe like about 20 minutes or so to kind of stretch all of them out. Once I let them sit for about 10 minutes or so, I found that it was much easier to stretch them out and they wouldn't fight back as much, or the dough wouldn't fight back as much if I gave it some time to kind of sit at room temperature. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of science behind that. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you know. But yeah, I got them all done. It's kind of heavy. I put it on a metal like baking sheet, and what I did is I stretched the dough out to the edges. I kind of tried pushing from the center out and kind of flattening, making sure that the center wasn't too thin, but kind of making a little bit of a crust around the edges. But then I sprinkled a little bit of flour and put the wax paper. I had the thought to Google and see if wax paper would be okay in the freezer in between like dough balls, and it says because it does have moisture, it should be okay, but it might stick a little bit, so just in case, add a little bit of flour and that's what I did. So we will come back tomorrow. I am picking up the Azure standard order, and tomorrow's gonna be super easy. All I need to do is shred the mozzarella cheese. I already have the pepperoni, the ham steak, the pineapple, so it should be super easy. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow when it is time to shred 5 pounds of mozzarella cheese. Okay, so it is actually 2 days after. I picked up my Azure standard order yesterday. It was around 5:30, and by the time we got home and I filmed my little Azure standard haul, it was too late, and I still needed to shred all of the cheese. So that is what I did yesterday. I have the 5-pound block of mozzarella cheese shredded here, and it was the Petaluma Gold mozzarella cheese, and to me it tastes almost like a cross between mozzarella and cheddar cheese, right? You would say? And I do have some like regular, I forgot what the brand is, but some regular mozzarella that I picked up at Costco, and my husband and I did a little side-by-side taste yesterday, and it almost tastes like it doesn't have any flavor compared to the raw mozzarella cheese. So I think what I'm gonna do is mix the two cheeses together. I also have a bunch of bags of pepperoni, I have ham and pineapple, and I have some marinara sauce that I actually made myself. Anyway, let me stop yapping. I'm going to probably put this over some music because my son is up and he's running around in his walker. But I just have some marinara sauce, some pepperoni, some diced ham and pineapple, and I pickled some banana peppers and jalapenos about a week or so ago, so they should be really good. I'm gonna add these to my pizza. So yeah. I have 15 in total. I want to gift 1 or 2 of these to my mom for her to make at home. And I think, I'm not sure how many cheese, pepperoni, and pineapple. I'll figure that out as I go. But yeah, let me get started so that we can close this project out. Alright guys, so I ended up switching gear. I originally wanted to, or I tried to use the saran wrap, but it took a lot of saran wrap and it was just kind of annoying to do. So I thought, why not put a layer of that butcher paper and then stack them, and I can fit 2 inside of a jumbo Ziploc bag. So that's what I ended up doing. So I will definitely reuse these Ziploc bags for sure. I'm gonna toss these in my back freezer. I have 1 in the oven that I'm gonna take to my mom because she's gonna watch my baby for a little bit while I get some things done around the house, and I'm gonna take her 1 to put in her freezer so that she can enjoy some later. But I did make my husband a pizza because he's hungry now. Let me show it to you. That is what she's looking like. So I took it out of the pan and I have it in my wood cutting board. So it definitely comes out super easily once you bake it. The only thing is at the bottom of it, it's not nice and crispy how I like it. So what I'm gonna do now is transfer it to my pizza pan that has all the little holes in it, so that way it can let the air up and make the crust really crispy. Put it back in the oven for a few minutes and then call it good. I'm gonna do that with my mom's pizza as well, and then put it back in the aluminum tray and take it to her. Anyway, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching if you're still here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. I have a bunch of freezer cooking videos and canning videos and all of that stuff coming up. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye friends.